What's up, everybody? Back on A2D Radio, another edition of Lazy Booking. Lots to talk about. Huge weekend of pro wrestling. Let's get at it. Like, subscribe, and follow.
Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Yep. Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing. I did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
That interview never gets old, by the way.
I'm literally sitting here sharing a couple of things, like sending the link to a couple of people. And I don't know if you're watching. I'm sitting there going, we're going at it at 110%.
100%. It's the greatest promo ever on A2D Radio, at least by
Easily.
a guest. Anyway, by a guest at least. But welcome in, everybody. We are happy to be back with you after a massive, massive weekend in professional wrestling. I am your host of the Lazy Booking Podcast, Chrome, joined by my guest co-host this week on this side, one Mr. Andy Ritter-Ritz from In This Very Ring. What's up, my brother?
What is going on? We have a huge weekend to break down, and my soapbox is awaiting.
Oh, boy. So make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, following, get in the chat, join the conversation. We got a whole lot to cover. AEW All In. On the WWE side, you had Saturday night's main event, Great American Bash, which we're only going to really touch on. It was what it was. They were kind of set up to fail a little bit. It was a good show, but
yeah.
And obviously we had Evolution. So again, let's show a little love to our sponsor here, Specialized Physical Therapy. Our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. You can find them in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web at that site right there, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Any aches, pains, long-lasting issues from any previous injuries or anything new. Check out him and his award-winning team. Andy, what a weekend we had. I was a little bit skeptical. Last week we had Eric Archer on as my guest co-host, and we kind of introed going into the weekend. And I have to say, I was a little bit skeptical. Is it too much wrestling? I don't believe that it was.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's why we're having a conversation, and I'm excited to have it with our opening topic brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. We're kicking this conversation off with the statement, we saw the very best of AEW and WWE this past weekend. Agree or disagree? So again, if you're on X, Twitter, if you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, please participate in the conversation. We'll have your comments popping up on the screen. Any comments, questions? But you're the guest, brother. You're the guest co-host. Kick us off on this topic here.
So, I think on the WWE side, we saw a lot of good wrestling. I think NXT was what it was. It was a very good show. They delivered for the most part. I think that Saturday night's main event had a couple ups. I think it was supposed to go in the night was supposed to end in a very different direction. Evolution, I'm not touching it. Evolution was great. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself all night Sunday night. AEW, and I've been saying this is nothing new. This is no surprise. And yes, I'm going to get on my soapbox, but this isn't the I hate AEW soapbox. No. This is it's too damn long soapbox. The fact of the matter, they started when Great American Bash started, almost right at the same time, simultaneously.
3 p.m. Yep, 3 p.m.
Right? They were still going on after Saturday night's main event ended. That's unnecessary for a Saturday afternoon. And if the reports that I'm seeing coming out are saying, hey, we wanted to go that long to take away from WWE, And also, shame on WWE for booking these two PLEs the way they booked them this weekend, knowing that you had All In Texas. Shame on WWE for that. But then shame on AEW for saying, hey, let's give you, what was it? I think the final runtime was almost 7 hours long or something like that.
It was very long.
That's unnecessary. And me, because I was working and it was easier for me to watch WWE on Peacock while I was working and then coming home, I caught all of WWE programming. I did not see live All In Texas. Earlier this afternoon, I sat down and watched Page versus Moxley. No. I thought the story they told with the title and John and Hangman was, and all the people that did the run in at the end, I thought that was great. But the match itself, which I'm sure we're going to get into, was way too much right out the gate for me. So will I say we saw the very best? I'm going to disagree. I think we could have done things better, and I think some things were completely out of their control, so you can't necessarily fault them for it, right? But there are runtime, scheduling, right? So many other factors to where it's hard to say we saw the very best. And then you look at if we were to run down the match cards, there are matches like, why is this here? No, go away. Why did this moment happen? No, go away. You telegraphed a lot this weekend.
Yeah, no, okay, I'll get on board with you on the time, and I watched beginning to finish.
I figured you did. You were very quiet on Saturday.
Well, so the thing is, like, it's the one show, particularly for AEW, that it's like, listen, it's their WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's their biggest show of the year. I do feel like that is the one show in the year where they really do try to put their best foot forward, right? So yeah, like I got on board with it, and I actually thought the show was pretty great. What I will say is, and I know this because I have people who talk out of two sides of their mouth, who talk about how WrestleMania used to be entirely too long, but now complain that they split it into 2 nights. This is the type of show where there's absolute fatigue. And I do believe in that aspect, there were issues with the show. However, in terms of the actual content of the show, I thought AEW knocked it out of the park. Best pay-per-view they've had in a long time. I am typically on board with you when it comes to the Jon Moxley style of matches.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it worked here. And I know that first couple of minutes was a little bit brutal. But when you're talking death match, this is what a death match is. We get a lot of death matches around here. So I am
full disclosure, the death match just genre of professional wrestling, way too much for me.
Okay, and that's fair. Listen,
I think it's a whole new level, and it's way too much.
And I understand that, and I get that. Okay, so it's something that is very big, particularly in this area. We're ECW country. You get a lot of independent wrestling. You see a lot of death matches. So I do have a desensitization up to it. But that being said, I agree. A lot of times it's a little too much. As amazing as I do believe the overall story of Swerve and Hangman was, there were moments in those matches that it was crossing lines for me personally.
Yeah.
So I can't fault you in your criticism of some of that. However, I just felt like, to get to this point, and whether it went on entirely too long, the Jon Moxley title run, which we dove into last week, I don't need to rehash that. is kind of irrelevant when we're getting into this particular instance. They did so. I stand on what I said a few weeks ago or about a month ago when I said that Adam Hangman Page has been, in my opinion, the most interesting character of the last 12 months. I really believe from the storyline with Swerve, from the kind of that change where he was just kind of like I don't want to say he's happy-go-lucky, but he was like that baby-faced cowboy and all this and that. And, for a while they had him, he was a drunk and all that stuff. A switch needed to happen for the character. He's a young guy who really still has his best years ahead of him, but you needed to switch to that character. So seeing that side of him where Swerve turned him into a very conflicted internally type of a human being, I felt was the switch that this character needed. And then to turn him in a way that it's almost the anti-hero, right? I think was exactly where this character needed to be at this moment. Go ahead.
It's almost like the Karrion Kross effect that we've been talking about a lot,
right?
How everybody that's come in contact and crossed paths with Karrion Kross, they've all kind of gone and turned into this heel, this darker, more grittier version of themselves. With Swerve and Hangman specifically, Swerve was able to bring out that's a wild picture of Pove.
It's a great picture, Pove. You look
It
great.
is. I haven't seen that. Wow. All right. I wasn't ready.
Shout out to Prism, by the way. Pove jumping in the chat, and Michael Hayes.
Sorry.
Michael, we'll circle back to this one.
I love you so much. But no, my where I was going with this though was that he brought out this more tougher, this more serious, like you're the workhorse, you're the champion, you're the guy who you're the heavyweight that you have to put this company on your back kind of deal, right? If you want to be in that upper echelon of people, right? And he was able to get, because I wasn't a Hangman fan for the longest time, and I'm still not like the best Hangman fan ever. I have my reasons, but I can at least respect the grind and respect the work. And ever since the stuff with Swerve, it has been a grittier, it has been a tougher Hangman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what we needed to get to this point. I think you needed to have some of the brutality. If Jon Moxley on regular television is bleeding every week, you know what you're going to get on a pay-per-view. But to match that level for, the perception they have, whether we agree with it or not, of the character of Jon Moxley, you needed Hangman to go to those dark places that he went to with Swerve and maybe even beyond that. So I really didn't have an issue with anything. I didn't see any blood drinking or any of that. That's where I crossed the line on certain things.
But going back more logistically with that match too, like there were certain things where it's like, this is like, I get it. You're as a wrestling fan, sometimes you want them to suspend belief, right? You want the fans to suspend belief, as I would assume. But there were a couple things I'm like, really, and then shame on production. I think production did not do them any favors with how they shot some of that match.
Maybe. I mean, that's a fair point. I'll be honest. I didn't quite catch on to that stuff, but it's possible. I'm not going to speak on production.
You also watched it after 6 hours of other programming.
Correct. There was a little bit of fatigue there. I was into the moments happening. Correct. But saying that, we talked about this last week. It went how I kind of expected it to go, but I don't have an issue with it. In that this was going to be their version of WrestleMania 40. Mm-hmm. Talked about this last week with Eric. I felt like, and I felt like it kind of needed to go there. If you're taking the title off of Jon Moxley, you need to tie all of this, the loose ends back together. Same as the Cody finishing his story. Correct. And the Roman 4-year run as the tribal chief, right? So again, I had no issue with how this was done. I really enjoyed the match. They made the right result. Getting back, we kind of dove deep into topic number 2, which is good. That would be less we have to talk about with that one. But let's go back, because I also want to touch on some other quick points. You know what my philosophy is, Andy, and my philosophy is it's not always front and back, top to bottom. Is it a perfect pay-per-view to make it a great pay-per-view? To me, it's moments, it's characters, and decisions that are made that indicate how great of a pay-per-view is. And in terms of AEW, I really felt they came out, they put their best foot forward here. Hangman Adam Page is coming out of this looking like $1 million. I believe him more as a champion now. I was not on board with the first title run, but I'm in on this one. And I believe that it's almost in a weird way that they were able to tie that first title run where he was a little bit more of a happy kind of a champion, you know what I mean? The typical babyface champ, to make this next run even better. But we debated last week about Toni Storm and Mercedes. I honestly, we believed that Toni needed to win this. I didn't believe that TK would pull the trigger on it, but they did. And not only did they, this was a phenomenal match between these two ladies. To me, Sasha's best match, hands down.
The outcome of that match made me really happy because I've never been a fan of the title collector type story, right?
I didn't like it with Omega either.
No, I didn't like it when Bobby did it either, when Lashley did it, you know. And this thing with Mercedes. Now, I will say it was a very creative entrance. It was dumb, but it was very creative, right? Bringing out the Texas Rangers 6-shooters or whatever they're called to dance with their titles. Very creative. But I think this was the right call from Tony Khan's standpoint of keeping the title on Toni because she is white hot right now. That woman is unhinged in the ring, outside of the ring, but she can do no wrong in the eyes of the fans, essentially, because it's the best thing they got going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think to me, now Hangman as well, but to me, and there's no disrespect to Swerve or even Ospreay, who are cornerstones at this point of this company. When I look at the identity of AEW right now, it is Hangman Adam Page, it is Toni Storm. The two right people are at the top of their promotion. Not even a question. So I think they really nailed it. I think they come out of this looking great. Even the tag team triple threat match, very impressed with that. I mean, some of the moves that listen, you know Shelton Benjamin is amazing. He looked like $1 million here. There were points where he looked so jacked up. I almost couldn't tell when he had his back turned if it was Bobby Lashley. He looks in unbelievable shape at his age. But I have to say, like, I just really felt like overall there was nothing on this card that I went, because at the moment I actually had someone. I have not watched Okada and Omega, so I do have to go back and watch that. I watched the first 5 minutes. I had something that came up. I had to step away. But I feel like I didn't miss anything because it doesn't sound like this was up to par with the first two matches.
I mean, for 30 minutes, you better have missed something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm looking at the run times here. 30 minutes and 32 seconds. You damn well better have missed something.
Well, so in fairness, I had a TV set up next to the pool, so I was watching it in the pool. Oh, yeah, I was real bougie on Saturday. Real bougie.
Who the hell are you?
Listen, I'm Chrome, baby. I live a good life, baby. So anyway, let's get back in here.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
You're an idiot. And loving seeing some new and fresh names in here as well. I saw, let me see, Justin Fleming. My girlfriend's in here. Hi, Christine.
I knew that name looked familiar.
What's up, baby? That's where that voice comes from. That's how I talk there. What's up, baby?
Please don't talk to me like that.
All right. Let's center it back. Okay. So that's the AEW side of it. WWE side. Great American Bash. I watched it. High quality. In comparison to everything else, to me, probably the bottom end of the shows. But again, not a bad show. So,
no, it really wasn't.
Yeah. If I'm gauging it, the success of the weekend by what was the worst show, that to me right there is both company succeeded in a weekend where it is very hard to keep people engaged in all of this.
Correct.
But there you go.
I
He's
knew
partly
it.
to blame for the poolside wrestling. Correct. Hey, listen. Everyone she gets, you know what I mean? So I know, circle back. I'm getting listen, I
Keep
love my girl.
going. Focus,
We're-
damn it.
We're getting back into it's hard. She's beautiful. It's hard to focus. Getting back into it here. So like I look at that again, I was not, and we knew it was coming. And I felt like it was very telegraphed.
What
To
are we
me, the
talking
low
about?
point was the Blake Monroe Mariah May face or heel turn.
I hated it.
It was very anticlimactic.
I was texting, so it's me, Jack, Silent Hill, and Chef, all in a group chat, and we were texting the whole time. And I'm like, I'm okay if she turns. I'm okay if she turns. Let it be after Jordynne wins the title, right? Jordynne wins the title. Blake Monroe turns. You're setting up Jordynne versus Blake for the title. And then you also have Jordynne up against the TNA Women's Champion. I'm going to butcher her name, so I'm not even going to try. Right? So you've got that set up. Like, it makes so much more sense. Now you're going to have JC Jane up against this other girl in a women take all match. If I think about the internet wrestling community for a minute, it's going to be a rough one for JC Jane. But then you have Blake Monroe. I almost called her Mariah May again. But you have Blake Monroe turn during the match for no reason. Why? What was the logic here?
It was just, we knew it was coming. My major issue is they telegraphed it. Like, what? Of course, when Jordynne Grace says, "I really want you to be ringside with me,"
Oh,
we've
yeah.
seen the song and dance with us.
To be fair, I missed that part. So, because I didn't
Okay.
watch pre-show. So, like, when they showed it, I was like, damn it.
Yeah, so it was kind of, it was very anticlimactic. The way it was executed was weird. Why, when less than a month or just over a month, when you do your contract signing, you're helping somebody who her and her stooges all attacked you? It was just very weird to me. And I like Mariah or Blake, whatever you want to call her. I still call Mercedes Sasha.
Yeah,
So it is what it is.
We all do it.
But it fell short for me. Okay, and something that could have been done. And if they were a little more patient with it, it could have been executed a little bit better. Correct. But taking that out.
Here's what's
Yeah.
crazy though. We didn't like the moment.
Sub Dynasty.
Atlanta loved it.
They did.
Atlanta and kudos to Atlanta.
Great
right?
crowd.
They were a great crowd for Bash. They were a great crowd for main event. They were on fire for Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah, they really were. Dynasty says it's literally work to watch AEW 2 hours pre-show, 6 hour main show, 2 hour scrum. If you can stomach that, it's too much. I did not watch the scrum. Yeah, well, I didn't watch the scrum yet. I don't watch the pre-show. I'll watch the match, whatever was on the pre-show. I didn't really need to see the boom. The goofballs. Which another conversation for another day. I'm not even going to get into. But then we go over to Saturday night's main event. Hot opener. Loved the Jelly Roll introduction into this. And I will say this. We are very critical on celebrities. We saw what happened with Travis Scott at WrestleMania. I have no issue with somebody who respects the business, is a fan of the business, or even if they're not a fan, but is willing to come in and do the work and do it the right way. And I don't know if anybody listened to the WWE scrum after Evolution where they talked about Jelly Roll. He approached them years ago. So he had actually done some training in wrestling.
So I had heard about that. Mm-hmm. I did not know that he approached them years ago, but it doesn't really surprise me.
About a year ago, he approached them.
Well, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all because we're coming up right around when he did the SummerSlam package last year when he performed in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
which to this day is one of my favorite openers of a pay-per-view ever.
Tremendous. Yeah, his inception into this is great. I really like that Randy Orton is a part of it, and it seems like him and Randy are actually like buddies, and Randy wants to be a part of it. This is typically like the Miz spot, you know. He usually gets the celebrities.
He still managed to get one over the weekend, though.
Oh yeah, he did. The great spot with him and Kittle on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, I felt like this was really well executed to set up. I think it's going to be a fun match. It's going to get a lot of and you know, my girlfriend Christine is in here, and I bring her up because she is the prime example of why this happens, Amy. We're not talking about what's that kid's name, the one on AEW with the Boom Dad. What's his name?
Fuck, do I know?
Whatever that kid's name is. Rizzler, right? The Rizzler. Isn't that his name, the Rizzler? We're not talking about something. I know. We're not talking about something like the Rizzler, right? We're talking about like my girlfriend. I said, listen, I thought that AEW would be maybe 4 to 5 hours. I thought it would be maybe 4 to 5 hours, and obviously it went a hell of a lot longer. So then, obviously, I made a joke to her about, oh, well, now we have Saturday night's main event. Well, I thought I was going to get shot in the face. But that being said, right, I did put it on the next morning. And I will tell you, when we watched SmackDown and then that, she is the exact person as to why they bring somebody like him in, because there is a casual fan out there who respect, particularly somebody like Jelly Roll, who's done unbelievable things with his life, considering what his past life was to what he does now, and the way he is in the community with people with second chances.
Mm-hmm.
The inspiration now with his weight loss journey. He's a guy that people get behind. He's a guy that will bring eyes to the program, and he takes it seriously. And that is exactly how you do it the right way, as opposed to we're seeing AJ Boom, whatever, and the Rizzler.
All right, so let me break down this Jelly Roll thing. I love Jelly Roll, right? And I got a lot of respect for him. I got a lot of just pure. I love his music too, right? Liar is a great song. Somebody Save Me is a great song.
A lot of really good music.
A lot of really good songs. I was very apprehensive about this because Friday night, I caught the clip Friday night, and I was like, okay, he threw back Logan Paul. Maybe they're going to set up something Logan Paul, Jelly Roll for SummerSlam, and then watch Saturday, and it was getting telegraphed way too much for me. Not that was a bad thing, right? And I was like, man, they're doing a tag team match. This isn't going to be it, because the interaction between Jelly Roll and Logan Paul seemed very surface level. Like it was just a pull and a throw. Like, I know you're a badass, right? Like Jelly Roll, you and I both know that you can whoop Logan Paul, right? But all you're doing is taking him and throwing him, and it looked weird. Kudos on Logan Paul though for selling the hell out of it, and even with the face, like the fear in his eyes and all that. Love that. And when he was shaking his hand at Drew McIntyre, I was like, all right, we're drawing this out. McIntyre eats the RKO. You go into the post-match stuff. It wasn't until Jelly Roll eats the Claymore and just dies, right? And he sells it so well. Like, he just dead. Randy's trying to talk to him. Jelly Roll's not waking up. I was like, all right, this may actually be really good. You know, and I think you have Drew to compliment Randy. You have Logan to compliment Jelly Roll. And not that Logan's a bad wrestler, but Logan can sell, and I can't believe these words are leaving my mouth, is going to be able to make somebody look really, really good that is not going to be at the same level as the other three.
Yeah. And
it already hit mainstream news. I think I said it in our chat, right? I was like, the over-under is like 6 on how many people are going to bring it up to me. I think I'm about 10 of how many people have mentioned, oh, Jelly Rolls Wrestling?
Yeah.
My roommate, she has just started recently watching Raw with me. And when we were watching Raw last night and the graphic came up, she was like, oh, I absolutely have to watch SummerSlam now.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it is going to bring a whole bunch of people to SummerSlam, which is what you want.
Yeah. And he's going to do it the right way. He's
Absolutely.
doing it the right way already.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to real quick jump in Mike's comment here.
Yeah.
We put a lot of work into. Appreciate you, Mike, and I got you. You want to be called Mike? You got Mike. It says my top 5 best matches last weekend. 1, Hangman Page and Moxley. 2, Io and Rhea with Naomi cashing in. 3, Stephanie winning the women's gauntlet. 4, Naomi and Jade. 5, Goldberg's last match. I can give you my top 5, but how are you feeling about this here?
I don't know if I agree with having Goldberg's last match on there. So funny enough, I missed Naomi and Jade. So one match I missed, I got pulled out and I was talking to my roommate and I heard it, right? Because I could hear it through the walls, but I totally missed the whole match.
Mm-hmm.
But I may be an unpopular opinion here. I loved the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match on Evolution. So
good.
I would probably put that in my number 5 slot. I think everything else is pretty solid. I'm not a big fan of battle royales like that anymore. Like, give me the Rumble, okay, but a battle royale, I'm not a really big fan of.
Agree.
Yes, obviously, Stephanie was the obvious choice there. If I have to take that out, I don't know. I don't know what I would put in there. I love the. Actually, no, I do know the triple threat Intercontinental title match, women's Intercontinental title match.
So,
Becky, Bayley, and Lyra.
Yes. So glad you went there because I was going to go there if you didn't. I'll give you my top. So I would flip flop. Io and Rhea to number 1.
Oh, and, yeah, no, I would do that too.
Yes. So my number 1 would be Io and Rhea, and here's why. I had this conversation, and everybody, please, wonderful comments. Please keep coming at us with them. If you want to drop in your favorite matches of the weekend, please do in the comment section. Throw a like and subscribe in there too while you're at it. To me, I gauge what was like next level, right? And Hangman and Moxley was a great story. But to me, it was like an attraction type of a match. It's set up to have these insane, wild spots. And the story was phenomenal. I'm not taking away from that. But there's nothing I saw out of there, particularly with Jon Moxley, that I have not seen before or seen them do crazier. I look at Io, I look at Rhea. Rhea has never beaten Io. And I forget that fact. And the reason I forget it is because as many times as these women have gone against each other, it never feels the same. It is a different match. It is a different flow. It is a next level every time they raise the bar on each other. And then you add in the Naomi cashing in. But I'm saying even without that, I said to my buddies, if that, as good as All In was, if you were to take Io and Rhea and throw it after Hangman and Moxley and have that be the All In main event, and that performance is what they got, nobody would have been disappointed by that match. Nobody would have said, how could that close this? Because it was that unbelievable of a match. To me, match of the weekend. I think Hangman winning was the moment of the weekend, but it wasn't the match of the weekend.
No one, and this is not a shot, and yes, right, Lynch says I hate AEW. That he's not 100% wrong there. But no one will remember the Hangman Moxley match.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, right? To where it's not just completely dumping on them, because that's not what I'm trying to do.
I'll put it. I think I know what you're going to say. You can tell me if I'm correct.
Okay.
That match is not going to be held as a standard.
No.
I feel like Io and Rhea is now a standard for women's matches.
And the rewatchability of the Moxley Page match may not be there in 3, 4, 5 years, whereas the Io Rhea match, that watchability will always be there.
Right.
Rewatchability. Right. So I think as far as longevity wise, it is, what will stand the test of time? What will we look back on and go, ugh, versus, oh.
Yeah. I do think another match omitted in here. So that's my one. That's my two. I put the triple threat match.
You're starting to break up, buddy.
Toni Storm needs to be. Can you hear me now?
Give it a second. Let it catch up. All right. Try it now.
Okay. We good?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm looking at this, I'm torn between 4 and 5, or 3 and 4. Toni Storm and Mercedes needs to be on this list. So I'm looking at Toni and Rhea. So it's between that and the triple threat. I mean, the women to me dominated on both shows. So to me, it's a toss-up which one you want to put 3 and 4. 5, see, Naomi and Jade was great. I think in terms of what my level of expectation was and what I got as a final result, we said it last week and it came to fruition. Gunther was the perfect opponent for Bill Goldberg. That might be the best match he's ever actually had in his life. And it's the longest match he's had in like 18 years or something like that. And that literally might be the best match he's ever had in his life. And it was a perfect opponent who can work any style. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again, Andy. People want to dump on Gunther. Wasn't a great first title run. No matter who this man gets in the ring with, no matter what style they work, he makes everybody look like $1 million. He really does. He did it with Chad Gable with the Intercontinental title, Sami Zayn, anybody in that Intercontinental title.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, he literally resurrected Chad Gable's career. And look at everything you're getting with Chad Gable now. I know he's hurt, but fast forward to the title. Look at what he did with McAfee and all these. He has time and again made guys look like $1 million. Drew and Sheamus, that match, what was it? Clash in Paris a couple years ago?
Yeah.
That's a classic. You talk about rewatchability. That match is unbelievable.
But, and I want to put this up. I'm going to take over for a second.
Sure.
Right? Gunther has no appeal. And I want to expand on that.
What's up, Marsh? Appreciate it, by the way.
Technically, from the like a technical wrestler type thing, inside those 4 ropes, he is untouchable. Right? He is great. He can work with anybody, do almost anything, and make somebody look phenomenal. The second that bell rings and he puts the suit back on, that's where you lose me, right? I think up until his promos with McAfee, well, really, the last probably 3 weeks of the Uso build-up for WrestleMania, once we started seeing that side of Gunther, he's really started to turn a corner. As long as they let him kind of play towards this almost maniacal kind of side where he's not going to stop at anything. Once these bell rings, right, you're mine and I'm going to own you type deal. I liked his promo last night with Braun, where it was essentially, I am not talking to you. I'm going to go sit in my skybox. I have nothing to say. But the trash talking kept going back and forth, even while Heyman kept talking. So you give me more of that, I'm a Gunther fan through and through. Right? But if you give me more what we got before all that, where it's just cookie cutter, cut and paste, I'm the bad guy, I'm going to beat you up type promos, then I'm out.
See, I have no issue with that. I'm the opposite as you. I believe that we need more guys like that. We don't need everybody to be the pomp and circumstance. I'm not saying that's necessarily what you're saying.
No, I know.
But I think that's the critique of he's vanilla, right? He's very vanilla. Doesn't wear knee pads, doesn't wear wrist tape. He just comes in boots and trunks and kicks somebody's ass. I love it.
I love
What
that part of it.
What I want, I now want to get the face turn of this, and I think it's coming
I can
because
see that.
I believe that this character will work as a face and take him to another level.
My biggest thing is this is sports entertainment at the end of the day, right? He's got the sports side of it. You got to have some kind of character with this. You got to have something. And for a long time, I think he floundered. He's starting to find a groove, and I think you're right. I think that there is a face turn coming for Gunther. I don't know what that will look like, but I think you can do a lot with that if it's a well thought out face turn. Don't just turn him face for the sake of turning him face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's got to have the right moment, and it's
Yeah.
not going to be anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think the intention. There's been a lot of different speculation what was going to happen at the end of Saturday night's main event. Whether Goldberg was intended to win that match and Seth cash in on him, or Gunther was going to win that match and Seth cash in on him. It sounds like a Money in the Bank was intended to be cashed in. And obviously Seth got hurt. We're going to circle back to that momentarily. I do believe, though, that this is going to be a point somewhere in these next few months where they're going to make that turn. They're starting to tease where they're starting to the shift of more heels confronting him. And I do, again, I like the fact personally that this guy is, there's no bullshit with me. I'm going to come in. I'm going to tell you I'm better than you. I prove it when I'm in the ring. That's all I need to do. I don't need to do this or I love that. I feel like you need those types of guys. And there's not many that do it effectively. It's why his Intercontinental title run was so good. My issue of why it's hard at the main event level is they have not done a good enough job to create enough main event talent. He just did not have the amount of opponents at that level as he did when he was at the Intercontinental level. His Intercontinental run was unbelievable.
Well, when you also think about who he had and what he had to work with, they were all these, for lack of a better word, polarizing characters, whether it was, a Jey Uso or a Chad Gable or a Sami Zayn, right? Because it was a lot of his Intercontinental title people now kind of coming for him for Gunther's not a good heel because he's effective as a bad guy. LOL. I just don't like him.
I do want to drop this in here. This is the rumor.
That would be wild.
Very, very heavily being reported right now. And that's by Fightful. So
no, I know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna have to chew on that for a while.
I love it.
When we talk about somebody's last match, and especially somebody like a John Cena, right? For me, at least, we've talked about this a bunch. I have my list of dream matches that I want for him, and I have what I feel should be the last match. I never put Gunther on that list. No disrespect to Gunther. So I have to chew on this for a little bit. I'll get back to you on that.
Do you know who you want to be his last match?
I know who I wanted to be his last match, but we got it already.
Who was that?
I wanted Randy.
Yeah.
I absolutely wanted a long build with Randy. Not I'm a bad guy, you're a bad guy. No, we've been in this for a long time. And let's finally put this final nail in the coffin kind of thing.
See, I'm of the opinion that I want, it's not like where we had Kurt Angle and listen, I mean, Corbin was what it was. I don't agree with that. It ended up being what it was. And he's actually a pretty great guy. I feel kind of bad for him. But that being said, I feel differently with Cena. I feel like as long as along the road, and the thing is, we're getting them to be meaningful. It's not just like we're getting the farewell tour and the greatest hits tour. We're getting it in a very meaningful way. I don't care if the last match isn't Punk or it's not Cody or it's not AJ. I do want AJ at some point.
Agreed.
if it's not AJ or it's not Brandy, I would prefer it to be somebody such as a Gunther. I don't need it to be Roman. We've seen that. I actually think in terms of who they need, who's in a spot that is just on that cusp in a main event spot and needs a meaningful match against somebody who they've made extremely meaningful again, who's one of the greatest of all time. I think this is the match that Gunther needs to get that last push
No,
over
and
there.
like I said, do you know what I mean? I don't completely hate it. I just haven't really thought about it. Like I said, I had what I wanted as their last match, as his last match. They did it already, right? So, Universal's in here. They already had the Randy match. They aren't going to do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's up, Universal? Thank you for joining us, sir. Or lady.
But that's why, like, I know we're not going to get it again. So it's kind of like I don't know what I want it to be now. If we want the Ultimate Heel scene on the way out, he fights. Stop it!
I love you, Prism, but that was fucked up.
That was wrong. That was wrong of you.
Yeah, so
Cena one final time. I don't hate that.
I love to see that too. I don't need it to be the last match. Fatu's a good one. It's another good name.
Fatu's a great one. Oh, if you haven't yet, there are two things you have to watch. You have to watch Randy Orton with Stephanie McMahon and Kevin Owens with Cody. The podcast interviews, they're great.
Yeah. Yeah. Cody's that to me might be the best superstar interview I've ever watched in my life. It is unbelievable. So if you haven't watched that,
which one? The Cody Kevin one?
Yes.
Oh, it's off the rails and unhinged.
I'm more than happy to promote that wrestling podcast for Cody. Not that it makes my little promotion means much, but I'm telling you, it is one of the best things you'll ever see.
Yes.
It is hilarious. Which, by the way, reminds me real quick, cheap plug for myself here. While we're at it, guys, why don't you come back at noon next week for this bad boy? We got our own little guest here. Next week, I'm going to be welcoming Devon Dudley to the show at noon here on A2D Radio. So please make sure you guys come back, set your alerts so you don't miss this show next week. We got 45 minutes to sit and talk to one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. Very excited to welcome Devon Dudley to the show next week. Jumping back in here. So, yes. I want to talk about another little point here, too. You mentioned the women's Intercontinental title match. What a barn burner. I mean, I have been a fan of Lyra. And I understand the critiques of great worker, character needed development. They have done a tremendous job, in my opinion, yes, in developing her character and continuing to do it. And my God, you want to say whatever you want to say about Lyra, does she not just keep putting on great match after great match with whoever she steps in with?
It's been phenomenal. Even last night, right? And I hate 2 out of 3 falls matches because they're way too predictable. But even last night was
you always know you're getting 3 falls.
Yeah, like just go to the 3rd fall already. But even last night was really, really good. And Lyra has really come leaps and bounds, especially in character development as well. And I'm very happy because I'm a Lyra fan too.
Yeah, I think she's been tremendous. And when you look at that whole 2.0 NXT era, I thought she was a bright spot that came out of that, where it was a little bit. I mean, obviously you got Carmelo Hayes and you got a couple other people, but I would venture to say right now she's the one that has the highest trajectory coming out of that, and that includes Carmelo. Because to me, Trick didn't really hit the next gear until they went out of the 2.0. So anyway, yeah, I just felt like, and obviously we talked about how amazing the match was between the two ladies, Io and Rhea Ripley. We get We get the Money in the Bank cash in. We get the surprise cash in. So somebody in here say, "Oh, I wish that she would have cashed in against Tiffany." I think
It was early on in the show.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that this was such a shock. And when we talk about visuals, Andy, right? You think about Seth standing at the top of the ramp after WrestleMania 31. You think about CM Punk when he won the Money in the Bank at the top of the ladder at WrestleMania 25. Oh, you think about the Miz girl, right?
Yep.
That face of her kind of turned to the side, holding the belt up and just making that face like, bro, I popped so hard for that.
It was a good moment.
I was not on board with this iteration of Naomi, maybe not even a month ago. I didn't love the gear, but the more it's developing, I am all in on this. And my God, maybe this is what she needed to be her like for a lot longer in her career. This is tremendous right now.
I was not a fan of this proceed with caution era of Naomi. It wasn't working for me. I'm still not sure if it's working for me, but what I will say, I loved the cash-in moment. I loved how it really caught everybody off guard, and it wasn't long drawn out. And then you fast forward to Monday night, and she opens the show. She gets a huge pop, this, that, and the other thing, and she's just taunting them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just been so well done. And then, like you said, the promo on Raw, just like, and I like that, like, there is no fear in her, right? Two women get in and she's just stank-eyeing them both with a level of distrust and disgust. That is just, this character is really working for me right now. I'm very, very happy for her because I know that she is someone who's talked fairly recently about wanting to start a family and probably hanging it up, not tomorrow, but in the near future. So I'm glad that she's getting this run because I do think she's a Hall of Famer.
Easily
a Hall of Famer. Universal says John's turn to face before he leaves.
You're behind a little bit on some of these.
I know. Well, there's been so many comments, which we appreciate, guys. Thank you. I want to make sure I get a lot of these comments in here before we move on to the
no. Stop! I'm taking over again. No, I'm picking a fight now. The cash in at the end of the show was one of the worst bookings in pro wrestling history. Should never have happened after the match Rhea and Io had. Horrible. And then he goes on, Damian, the only thing people remember from Evolution 2 is the most horribly booked cash in the history of pro wrestling. Brother, who hurt you? Who, legitimate question here. Who hurt you that you think it's a horrible cash in? Did you say the same thing when they had Seth cash in at 31? That's all this was. This was the female version of the heist of the century. And this was somebody who we all thought she was cashing in on Jade at SummerSlam. We literally wrote it off as this cash in's going to happen on SmackDown. And yet she ran over to Raw, cashed in, seized an opportunity, and took the title off of Io during the Io Rhea match, which was great in and of itself. I think you're just hurt. I think you're honestly just hurt. Somebody hurt you.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me there, buddy. Oh God, this fucking dog doesn't shut up.
Yeah, what? What did you do to it?
I don't know what it is. I might have to get you on a rant so I can go down and tell her to shut up. But going through some of the comments here, who in NXT makes the big jump? I think we get Trick Williams soon on the main roster. Who do you got?
From NXT jumping up, I would like to see Trick jump up to the main roster, but I've not been a fan of this TNA World Champion kind of heel turn thing they've been doing with him. Because at that point, right, I get it, you're promoting your partnership with TNA, but you've got some other things that you could be doing with Trick. Or if you don't have anything, then put them up to the main roster. I would like to see, God. I like Obafemi. I really do.
I think Oba's awesome.
I like Obafemi. Like, just his walk to the ring makes me laugh.
It's tremendous.
In a good way, right? I like Oba. I like Ethan Page. I like Ricky Saints. I think they're still early, but I like them both. I've become a very big Sol Ruka fan.
I think Sol Ruka has come so far in the last year or so. I'm with you 100% on him.
And then
Absolutely.
Damian brings up another really good name, Tony D'Angelo.
Fallon Henley, I think, should have been up a year ago.
A year ago, I would have said yes. I don't hate what they're doing with Fallon Henley right now. So I'm okay with her staying in NXT right now. I think if she were to move up, a lot would be lost. Same thing with like Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan and even Lash Legend. I'm big fans of all of them as well. But I think if you move them up right now, they get lost in the shuffle more so than they already kind of are.
Yeah, I think Thea is somebody they could have moved up that I think
Thea should have been champion twice over at this point.
I think that's hurt her a little bit. Izzy Dame, I like where she's at now. Talk to me a year from now. I think she's doing really, really well. Working with the culling, and I like that they're making her almost this like
the de facto leader of this call.
It's really, really good. It's really interesting. I think they've done a really good job with that. Anybody else on the men's side that you really like?
No, not really. Like Tony D'Angelo right now is probably doing some of the best work.
Yeah, he's been great. Javon Evans has been phenomenal.
Yeah, but I still think Javon should stay down there a little bit longer.
Sure. He's another one. Circle back to me in a year.
Yeah, but if we have to pick, Oba for sure. Trick if you have nothing else going for him down there. That's really it.
Yeah. Damien says, question, is it me or did Evolution not feel all that special this year? Like the first Evolution had everything. This one didn't really have a special moment. You remember, no offense. Oh, my God.
Damien, I have... No. Damien, I have homework for you. Go rewatch it. Come back here. We'll meet same bat time, same bat channel, and then tell me it wasn't special.
I mean, Trish Stratus, even though it was a very long match, Trish Stratus had a tremendous match. Yeah. Keeping up with Tiffany's
best matches.
Yeah. I gotta disagree with you on that one. Yeah, let's talk about the Lexus King. Somebody put out there. Let's talk about the injuries that we saw here. Big injuries. I know we're going to go slightly over the time. I'm not going to keep it long. We got two more topics we want to hit. Let's talk about it. Your thoughts on the Adam Cole. I mean, this broke my heart. Adam Cole, and you know this. I've said it for years on here, Andy. In ring, Adam Cole might be my favorite professional wrestler of the last 6 or 7 years. I love Adam Cole. I think he's very underrated in the best in the world conversation in ring.
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy just ever since he left WWE,
he's not had a good run of things.
Yeah, and it's all freak stuff. It's not even like, oh, it's the style they're working. You know what I mean? Because I do think they work somewhat of a more reckless, glorified indie style in certain matches, but it has nothing to do with that. It is just misfortune after misfortune after misfortune.
I don't want to spend too much time on it because there's really not a whole lot to say on it. This is what I'll say regarding the Adam Cole. It breaks my heart. I think that you're essentially saw the last of Adam Cole inside of a professional wrestling ring. And I think this is somebody who left way too much on the table. And yeah, there's not much more to say on it, right? And because a lot has already been said on it, it's Adam Cole, right? You know, and it's heartbreaking. It's very disappointing. Same thing with the Seth Rollins injury, which we don't have a lot of info there either. But from the Adam Cole side, I think he's done. I think he's absolutely heading out.
Yeah, Yeah, and I hope not. I'm just going to say that again. If the black and gold NXT run is some of the best wrestling I've ever seen in my life, like hands down. Talk match quality, storyline quality, the level of talent that was there. I mean, it was a who's who of people, and you know, if that's what we get as you know, in my opinion, his peak, his Ring of Honor world title run was tremendous too. But in terms of a large scale peak, we're grateful for having had that time. But I hope he can get back in the ring. Very unfortunate for this man, though. On the flip side, major storylines surrounding Seth Rollins all over the place. We know there was a major future plan for this man, and now there's a lot of uncertainty. I haven't heard any new news update today. You know,
I don't
Adam
think
Cole is a concussion issue. This one we're talking knee, same knee he injured back around WrestleMania 32.
Correct.
So your thoughts on this one?
All right. So while I do think, because they did say that he was going to see the doctor in Birmingham, that never is good. We've all been around enough to where if you're going to Birmingham for something below the waist, it's a problem. However, I'll tell you this right now. I swear to God, I'll say it. And especially after last night. He's still the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. Could you imagine the work that this would be if he shows up at SummerSlam and cashes in on Punk?
Yeah, hey, listen.
Honest to God, it'll be the greatest thing they will have ever done with this briefcase. It will be incredible because even Triple H's answer at the scrum was real vague. We've danced around it, and the fact that he still took the BFT at Saturday Night's Main Event, like it didn't sit right with me. I'm calling it might be a work, but and realistically, I hope it is because then that means there's something seriously wrong with Seth Rollins, and here's another person who has had several injuries over the last few years and has kept him out. You just put him in a faction. You just kind of strapped a rocket ship to his back again, right, to take him to that Roman Reigns level, and for him to get hurt now is very devastating.
It is devastating, and you know what, Andy? I know that you are not aware of this, so your thoughts are your thoughts. To give you a little momentum behind them, John Pollock of Post Wrestling.
Okay.
John Pollock, very notable wrestling reporter, journalist, podcaster, guy I've listened to for the last 10 years. Many connections. Did say in his recap over the last couple of days, he said, I cannot confirm this with 100% certainty, but I have a source within the company who has told him that there is a high chance that this is a work. And he said, to validate that, I was told this before it happened. And everything that person has told me since then has played out exactly as it. So he said, the guy might be hurt. He said, I don't want to disrespect an injury if it's there. But he is sticking to his guns that he trusts his source that this could be a work.
Hell yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it would be tremendous if that is the case. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, talk about really doing the ultimate screw you to CM Punk, right? I mean, wow. Really, really big opportunity here. I think it is devastating, even to take him off, especially if it is true. Seth has missed at some really important times in his career.
Yeah, you want to talk about shitty timing.
Yeah. But the only guy I think who maybe has worse luck sometimes with this is Wade Barrett, who should have won the title about 3 times and he kept getting hurt over and over again. So, yeah, we'll see how this works out. Other big moment from the weekend, I think it's important to touch on, is the return of the OTC last night.
Throw your ones to the sky. When I tell you last night, don't get me wrong, it was telegraphed a little bit, but the pop, not just from Birmingham, but from my living room, I blew a gasket when that man came out because it all just played so well. Where you, damn it, it was good. It was good. Glad to see Roman back, and he's just gonna beat the brakes off. But I do think this is setting up Jimmy and Roman versus Braun and Bronson at SummerSlam. I said it last night. I'll say it here on the air.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the plan was for Roman. Part of me kind of feels like Roman's return was supposed to happen at SummerSlam. But with Seth being out, maybe they moved that up a little bit. I don't know. That's my own speculation. It's not any inside information that I have. But it's always better when Roman Reigns is on the program. I don't care what anybody says. And obviously, people were saying, oh, well, WrestleMania came and he's away again. And then it came out, the man was having a child. Okay, so he wanted to be home. I also think that for Roman, it is very difficult with his medical situation. That people seem to forget that you need when you are go through what he has a chronic cancer survivor. He is always going to have that risk in him. Physically, your body gets more beat down. It takes longer to recover. I think at this point, we need to get into that now. But when he shows up, it feels big time. And that's what that felt like last night. It felt like a huge, massive moment. And again, this is the kudos to WWE because you had the heel turn at Great American Bash. You had a really phenomenal, in my opinion, ending to Saturday night's main event because of how unbelievable Goldberg looked in that match. Production-wise, why are we cutting off the speech? But I digress. And then I turn back, and obviously, amazing ending to Evolution, amazing ending to Raw last night. I just think there's a lot of really, really great stuff that's setting up for the next couple of weeks. 2-night SummerSlam is coming up. Very excited for that.
Raw in Houston next week, baby.
You going?
Hell yeah, I'm going.
Nice.
I work for Toyota.
So what do you get, free tickets?
Yes, I do.
Well, why didn't you tell me that, you bastard? Why didn't you tell me? I'd fly out there and go with you.
We got an extra seat.
No, I can't go now at this point. I'm going to Florida soon. You know that.
Of course you are.
Yeah. So, by the way, programming note, again, just for anybody who missed it earlier, got a lot of people in here. Thank you guys for joining us with the comments and everything. Next week, I got to start taking these comments off.
I got it.
Rookie mistake. Next week, special guest. No disrespect to anybody else we have. This might be, at least being from Philadelphia, one of the biggest guests we've ever had. Mm-hmm. WWE Hall of Famer, 20-plus time tag team champion all over the world, former road agent, WWE legend, ECW legend.
He's a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
As I said, WWE Hall of Famer. I mean, one half of the greatest tag team possibly of all time. Most decorated for sure. Devon Dudley's joining the show at noon. So earlier show next week. Very, very excited for that. And I'm not sure if we're going to be on the week after that because I will be in Florida. And I have not decided yet if I am going to bring my laptop. So I will give everybody a fill-in on that following week and whether that'll be a guest or it might be a preview show. I do know we're doing a post-show after that, the week after SummerSlam. So, any final thoughts here, Andy, with everything we saw over this past weekend?
Nah, man. I thought it was a great weekend for wrestling. It was one of the biggest weekends in professional wrestling. I thought that for the most part, everybody went home happy. And yeah, it makes me very excited for next week's Raw, obviously in Houston. NXT's in Houston. But then SummerSlam's just a few weeks away. And with it being a 2-night SummerSlam, you got a lot to live up to. I think WWE is going to pull it off pretty well.
Yeah. No. The reason
Also, hell no.
I don't think they're going to touch Brock. Not at this point. There's too much toxicity there. I don't think that. I mean, them acknowledging him isn't a big deal. But I don't think he's going to be back. What I will say, the reason. So me and Andy, when we were discussing this show coming up today, we were tossing around a lot of opening topics, and one of them was AEW outperformed WWE or outshined WWE this week. The reason I didn't go with that is because I know Andy was going to get on his soapbox one way or the other anyway, which I'm fine with. I'd love it. That's why we're here, to agree to disagree and have conversations. The other part of it was I felt like it was an easy disagree, and I'm going to tell you why it was an easy disagree, Andy. Because when we sat here and we just did a show for an hour and 10 minutes, we're going to be cutting out in a minute or two. When we just went, and there were so much else that we could have talked about that we didn't even really dive deep in. We didn't dive deep into the Toni Mercedes storyline. There were other things on AEW, other things, we didn't really get too deep into the Trish Stratus Tiff stuff, right? Stephanie Vacquer winning the Battle Royal. A lot of really great stuff. At the end of the day, I really truly believe it was an easy no or an easy disagree because we were the winners. We were the winners of everything. We won the weekend, not AEW, not WWE.
No,
they did win the weekend. They both won the weekend because I felt like the fans won the weekend.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that you guys haven't watched, please go back and watch it. See if you can, whatever you can do to try to.
You might want to break up All In over 2 or 3 days, but Yeah,
it might be like a 2-day watcher. But I'm telling you guys, it was really, really something else. Don, appreciate you coming in, buddy. I love you, bud.
A lot of love, Don.
I'll be back on Wednesdays, right around football season. Just kind of been working my other job and focused on getting this show going. So appreciate you always. Miss seeing your face. Dynasty, you too. Most you'll get is a Hall of Fame induction in 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So anyway, Ritz, great doing a show with you again, buddy.
Always fun, brother.
We look forward to having you back soon. Really, really excited to have you on. And for everybody comment section was moving. If you haven't yet, whether you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, please throw a like, throw a subscribe, throw a follow out there. Share it with anybody you know who likes podcasts. Check us out on all the podcast platforms. Google Play, what's it? Apple Podcasts. I forget. They changed the goddamn names to everything so much. Had a great conversation with a guy today, my Uber driver, who said he was going to check our show out. So shout out to him if he does. But anyway, I got to give some love to my Uber driver, right? He's really interesting.
Close the damn show.
This is how we build an audience, Andy.
Close the damn show.
Shout out to my lady out there, too.
Oh, my God.
Dynamite drop in. And listen, we got to show this love. Specialized Physical Therapy. Check him out, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. Brilliant in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find him on the web, specialistphysicaltherapy.com. Niche Night Flyers A2D coming at you at the top of the hour. Lots of great stuff over there. Best hockey show in the business. I'm telling you guys, they talk tons of Flyers. They can talk any team. So even if you're not from the Philadelphia area and you just love hockey talk, these guys are phenomenal. Niche Night is back. It's in full force, and we are having a great damn time doing it. For myself, for Andy, everybody here at A2D Radio, what do you always say, Andy?
Tell some you love them. We'll see you on the other side. Peace, love, and joy. We're out.
We're out. Love you guys. Peace out.